Good evening, and thank you for joining Real Talk with Ellison, and I am Ellison. Listen, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and hit the like button. If you are on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. So today is going to be a little different. We have been talking about breaking the silence this month of October, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit about my story. And Real Talk with Ellison reaches the church community and the community as a whole. So, breaking the silence, the women that have been on so far and that are coming to follow will be using our stories to let you know you do have a voice. So, it's not going to be me sitting here talking to you, telling you my story. My co host for today, you guys may recognize her from last week, is none other than Natalie Purdy. Hi, Natalie.
Hello, Ellison. Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us again on today. Listen, before we even go about me, I just want to say how many phone calls and messages I got just praying for you and, just saying how beautiful you are. And thank God that you are still with us.
Yes, thank God. Thank you all for your prayers and your messages, and thank you for giving me this platform and allowing me to come back.
Yes, 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 yes. So I wanted to just really quickly by saying childhood trauma consists of many different things like physical abuse, sexual, emotional neglect, and there's like one out of every seven children abused or neglected. So I just wanted to throw that out there because sometimes parents see their children who are maybe angry or aggressive have depression, self-esteem, security issues, or lack of confidence, and we say, oh well, that's teenager. Oh, they're in their room because it's a teenager. But in telling my story, I'm hoping that they will be able to see that it's not just teenage all the time, and check in the importance of checking into, is this just my child being an adolescent or a teenager, or did something really happen? So I have no idea, guys, which direction we are going in. So, Natalie.
Okay, I'm ready. I am so excited. It's just so excited.
Yes.
So grateful for you to share your story with all of us. And I'll try to try and fill your shoes somewhat and be a good host. I hope so. These are some big shoes to fill.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
ma'am.
Ellison, I want to start off first and foremost. Um, the question that usually everybody has. I want to start off with today. Where? Thank you. Love you too. Eric, thank you. Where are you today?
So today I walk in healing today. And the reason why I said I walk in healing is because sometimes there's a trigger and I don't know that there's something that I haven't dealt with until I'm triggered. So today I walk in healing. Today I walk in peace because the Lord has given me peace. Today I walk in understanding what human love is because my husband was there on that journey to help me understand what love is, and also identifying what unconditional love is through God. So so today that's where I am today. I'm confident. Today my self-esteem is elevated. Today I feel secure in who I am. That's where I am today.
Whoa, yes. Oh my goodness, that was so powerful. Thank you for inspiring us.
Thank you.
That's like my daughter and I. Every morning we have a thing, and you made me think of that. I am,
Yes.
and that's how we start off our day. Today I am, and it has to be something powerful.
Yes.
So your today is I am blessed. I am
Hmm.
here. I am
Amen.
healed. So thank you so much for that. And so my next question for you is, How did you get here? What is your why?
Ooh, she just jumped right on in there. So,
Okay, so
un-
let me, before you even start, let me dive in a different direction. And just by saying, I want to start from your childhood trauma
mhm, okay,
that led into adulthood trauma.
okay. So, unfortunately, I was a victim of sexual trauma, sexual abuse, domestic violence, childhood violence, neglect. Unfortunately, I can fit into just about every area of some kind of childhood trauma. And because of my childhood trauma and the effects that it had, it pulled me into different directions where I wasn't even sure of who I was, you know. And if I wanted to start somewhere, I could start at conception. I can start at conception because, I remember one of my siblings not even wanting me to come forth. So she fought my mother. She punched her in the stomach, different things to try to have her miscarry. So the abuse kind of started at conception, for me. And that I don't know if that's unheard of or not, but that's where the abuse started for me.
And we do know that when someone has a baby, is carrying a child, it does make a difference of
Mhm.
what that mother carrying that baby, what she goes through. We know that you
Mhm.
can hear everything on the outside.
Mhm.
Not to mention that you take on her emotions.
Mhm.
And so that's why, doctors will even tell you, and even our ancestors would tell us, like, be mindful when you're pregnant, as far as
Yeah.
listening to music, reading to the baby, and all of
Right.
those things are the very important development of
Yeah.
that baby from the womb.
Right.
So
Right. So
yes.
yeah, that's kind of where it started, and then just transition through to being abused. Most of the abuse came from my father. So being abused by him, but when you're abused as a child, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, it holds trauma, especially when it's words hurt. I always said when I get to heaven, I want to see after Jesus, I want to see Adam and Eve, and who said sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt. Because those words that were spoken to me after all the bruises healed, they still scarred me and affected me in my adolescence as well as adulthood. Because of those words, because of everything, I had a fear of rejection, a fear of abandonment. And that stemmed from my family didn't even accept me because my father, I had a different father, and my father was the abusive one. So I didn't feel accepted by them. And truth be told, a few of them to this day still don't accept me, whether they have said it or their actions show it. So this is why it's important for us to know who we are. And God is definitely my rock and my shelter, because again, at this age, some families still don't accept me, right? And that hurts because I fought for a family who didn't want me, and I rejected a family, which was my father's side, that was had everything I wanted. My father's side of the family, they have family gatherings, they celebrate one another, they have family, birthdays, Christmas, all of that. And I rejected them because I wanted to be accepted by the family that I lived with in New York. if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. In fact, your rejecting them was probably just again trying to get the acceptance of the family that was rejecting you.
Hmm.
And it may sound like, wait, what? A lot of times we strive and want the attention of those who reject us.
Hmm.
And you have somebody over here with open arms and they're waiting. And you may have felt like if I go over there and I'm with them and I'm having a good time, I'm going to be even more rejected.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
be, they're going to really be jealous of me.
Hmm.
You know, they already have this crazy notion of treating me bad because I have a different father and not knowing that that wasn't a healthy relationship,
No.
a
Mm-mm.
father daughter relationship. And they should have, instead of being jealous or any kind of envy or any, whatever it was that they were holding on to, they should have been embracing you.
Right. So it wasn't jealousy about my father, because remember my father was abusive. So not only did he abuse me, he abused my siblings too. He abused my siblings, he abused my mother. So it
And so it's more
some
like an
of them
anger
made it
towards
feel
you.
like it was my fault. And after a while I started carrying the weight of what he did wrong
Oh,
and
gosh.
would do everything to feel accepted. I remember having this conversation with my brother, and I was like, you left me. You left me, because my brother was the last one home. And I didn't understand that he was running from the toxic environment too until we had that conversation. But all I knew is, you guys, y'all came up together, y'all were close in age, y'all left me, and y'all knew what this man was like. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
y'all
yes.
knew what this man was like and y'all left me. But the sad thing is, I wanted to be accepted by them,
Hmm.
even though some of them too abused me, whether it was physically or emotionally. They too abused me. Like the one sibling I was saying that, hit fought my mother so that I wouldn't be born. I never forget when a school pressed charges against my father. Well, they had to pull me out the home. Guess where they sent me?
Oh, with that sibling.
To with that sibling. So if you can imagine the emotional abuse and the profanity of the words that was hurled at me that I couldn't even pronounce or understand, it was like I was continuously beat down just because I was his child.
Yes, yes, yes,
Just because
yes.
I was his child, just because what he did, and to hear, I never considered you a sister anyway. And, to hear things like that hurled at you as a kid, it was rough. It was rough, and because my siblings, not all of them, but because some of my siblings, you know, um, chose to also and take care of me, I guess the things that some of them did to me, it was like, who cared about me?
Hmm.
Who loves me? Is love being told what you're not? Is love being degraded? Is love being hit? So when things happened to me, like when I was molested, I was molested by a family member. I was touched by a family friend that led to my mother getting beat by my father because she was trying to protect me. I was molested by a sibling's friend's daughter, and that was difficult because it was said, well, why didn't you say anything? You already proved to me that I don't matter. You already proved to me that everybody else is before me. So if I were to come to you, would you believe me anyway? Because you already proved to me. I came to you and told you, and I was taken up for myself from another family member, and you chose to punch me in my face. So I'm supposed to come to you and tell you what your friend's daughter did to me? and living with that, and I'm not crying because of memory. I'm crying because I thank God of where he's brought me from. Um but to just feel like you don't even matter enough to tell someone you was violated, I started believing that I was a nothing and a nobody like they told me.
Exactly. And I'm so sorry. I want to apologize for all of the adults in that situation that did not protect you, that didn't even take the time to make you feel like they could even hear what you had to say. I want to, first and foremost, and this is my fault as the host. Oh, I forgot to put this information across the screen for the National Sexual Assault Line. That number is, I know your producer is listening, so that number is 1-800-656 4673. So we'll be talking about a lot of trauma tonight. So if you feel like this may be a trigger, please feel free to sign off, um, and definitely seek help or any kind of counseling if this affects you during this talk. But we will be talking about a lot of trauma, um, in hopes of helping others heal. So let me just say that there are four types of abuse. It is the physical, it's the emotional, it's the sexual, and it's neglect. And
Hmm.
so just to hear you, Ellison, through your whole childhood, you had all of those, all of that type of abuse, all of the family violence. We do know that with sexual abuse, um, a lot of it comes from family members
Hmm.
and for children.
Hmm.
And for children that are sexually abused, 93% that are abused, it happens from someone that they know.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's less than 10% are abused by a stranger.
Hmm.
And so thank you so much for just opening that part up to let, if there's someone out there, whether they were abused as a child, that hopefully they can get help in that trauma, or if they know of any children that are being abused, um, help them, because I'm sure they're silenced like you. And a lot of
Yeah.
times
Hmm.
they can't speak up. And I can hear, just, I don't really know the whole story, but a lot of times what happens with children that are being sexually abused, the families choose sides.
Hmm.
And there are some that believe the child, and then there's some that don't. And then there's just those that still choose to take up for the predator.
Hmm.
As,
Hmm.
as, as crazy as it is, but
Right.
they'll make excuses, or they'll say, well, maybe she deserved it, or maybe
Yeah,
she wanted it, or whatever
that's
it is.
true.
And a child has no inkling of even knowing. And even if a child, children just know affection. So even if a child did sit on your lap, or gave you a hug, or always wanted to come and give you an embrace, it by no means is a sexual indentation,
Right.
of
Is
something
is
that
is
they
not. Is not at all. But that wasn't my case. We didn't know, nobody hugged. I didn't know what I love you was like, unless it was a out of drunk, or maybe oh once I got older. But the thing about that is, you know, that also is abuse, because you don't tell a person I love you or show them any affection. How do they learn? How do they learn that? And I didn't learn that, and like I was saying, when I was sexually assaulted by the female, I didn't know how much that affected me until I had my child, until I had my first child. And then I was scared. I was scared because I'm going, well, let me back up. I went to a group counseling, and the group counselor basically told us that Eight out of the nine times we're going to end up like either in the relationship, like our parents, alcoholics. We were going to be abusers ourselves, all this other stuff. And I walked out of that determined not to be a statistic of that. So when I had my first child, I was scared to death to change her pamper, scared to death to change my child's pamper. I didn't understand why. And then I remembered a female touched me, more than just touched me. And I'm not going specifics, but a female done this to me. And so now I had to battle with that part. Am I going to abuse my child sexually, emotionally, physically? I had to battle that for a long time. And nobody understands the effects that abuse that you go through have when you have children. It's almost like I had to fight myself. It's almost like I had to fight myself through all of my trauma, because what I thought I pushed away when I started having kids came back. And the sad thing about it is I I never I never in the past, I can say I never felt the family support. Here I am, the baby, having my first baby, one of my siblings 20 minutes away, and didn't even come. Didn't even come to the birth, didn't come see if I was okay, didn't even come. So throughout my life, my siblings, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying siblings, showed me you don't matter to me. But I fought because I wanted them. So I did things I didn't want to do to earn their love that I never earned. I never learned. To this day, one of my siblings tell me I love. We tell each other I love you like 100 times a day. That's an overstatement, but my other ones, no, no, I don't. And that could be from childhood too. So we all are scarred. But the thing about it is, when you're dealing with this, it affected my self-esteem. I was angry. I was hurting. My body, I felt like it wasn't my own because somebody took it from me at the tender age of 5. Somebody took it from me. And who do I tell? Because who's protecting me? So that anger of not being protected turned into anger in my relationships of who I have got to protect me.
And so I think that our siblings are the next closest thing to us from our parents. So it was only quite natural that you wanted that bond with them, especially you being younger and seeing all of the older ones so close and not feeling loved, not having the bond that they had. Only quite naturally that you definitely wanted that, and unfortunate that it went even into your adulthood because nobody was there to protect you, but nobody was there to explain to you that look, for whatever they had going on and for the reasons that they blamed you, that it wasn't your fault. They weren't even capable or able to love. And they weren't able to love you and understand that they shouldn't have been treating you that way, but they didn't have anybody there to check them to say, that's wrong. That's your sister. And you're gonna have the same bond you have with your other siblings, and you're
Yeah.
gonna treat her right. But nobody was there to correct them. So how can they love you when they don't even know how to love?
Yeah,
And when
I
you
agree.
think about alcoholism, we see that that's always really prevalent in different types of abuse, whether it's child abuse, sexual abuse, um, domestic violence, alcohol. It,
Yeah.
it plays a significant part. And Alcoholic Anonymous, they for years they've always had the 12-step program, and they've now added the 13th step,
Mhm.
which is about the predators,
Right.
whether it's sexual assault or it's child abuse,
Yeah.
things like that. But they see it a lot with rape,
Yeah.
and they call it the predator's playground.
Yeah. And I would agree. But there's an exception to every rule.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I would definitely agree. However, when we grow up and we know better, when we're saved and we know better, when we're Christians and we know better, when we are professing to love like Christ, we know better, but yet you still display some form of abuse. When I say to this day, I still am not accepted. I mean to today. Today is October 13th.
Yes.
So, and alcohol doesn't play a part or anything else. I seen a comment where somebody said, I have a hard time calling God my father. I had a hard time loving God because I didn't know what love was. So how can I love someone I couldn't even see? Matter of fact, how can I love someone when all of this happened to me? So now you're telling me there's a person out there. His name is God, his name is Jesus, and he loves me. Well, what happened? And I had to learn not to cast my anger on to him, but
Yes.
to allow him to heal me. But that healing, I wasn't there yet, and I felt like it came at a cost to me. I feel like it came at a cost to me with my anger. I feel like it came at a cost to me with my, because I started finding my voice, and you were going to hear me.
Yes.
You were going to hear me, but I just was loud
Mhm.
covering up trauma.
Yes.
I didn't deal with it. I was just putting up this facade. I was just putting up this wall so that you wouldn't see that I am this hurt little girl. Um, and you mentioned rape. Yeah, I was 14 years old when I went to my friend's house, a friend, and her brother was like, "Oh yeah, she's in the room. No issue. That's always the case." I go in the room. Well, he puts one handcuff on me. I fought for my life because I knew if that other handcuff would have got on me, I don't know what would have happened.
Yes.
And I fought and I fought and I fought for my life to get out of there. And again, who do I tell? Because I don't think I matter. I don't think I matter. Who cares if Ellison was molested? Who cares if Ellison was beat up? Who cares if Ellison was raped? Who cares? I didn't even care about me anymore because I started believing what was being said and what was being shown to me. So I started acting like I don't even care about my own self. And that is hard because that came over into my marriage. When it was time to be intimacy, things started erupting in my marriage, and I didn't understand why. And it's because of the past trauma that I didn't deal with. And now here I am, married with children, thinking that if I have my own kids, they'll love me unconditionally. I finally have something to love me unconditionally. I have my husband, but life still happens, and I felt like the world was against me, and nobody, you hear me, not my kids, not my husband, nobody was there to protect me, and I always had to fight for myself. And that's how I felt, and that's what trauma did. Trauma made me feel like I didn't matter. My family made me feel like I didn't matter. And it's hard. It's hard
It's
because I still care. I still love them. I'm walking in my healing. I got peace now. It wasn't until a couple of years ago my son told me, "Mom, why are you fighting for a family that don't even want to be family?" My son told me that because I would fight and I would give all of me to my family, and all they knew how to do was walk on me and treat me like the dog that I perceive they think I am.
and
That
again
was
that goes
horrible.
back to they don't know, and even though you feel like they should know now, if they're not going to make the conscious effort, then yes, it's time for you to put all of that love that you have with that big, magnificent heart and put it towards your family that loves you. Put it towards your children, and just understand that they can't be who you need them to be.
Mhm.
It's just not in them.
Mhm.
It's just not in them. At this point, Ellison, with them knowing everything and them being adults, they they could make that conscious effort. And since they're not, and they can't, and they won't, and they don't, it's time to move on. And
It's
you,
it's
you can
it's
do it,
yeah.
and they know who you are now. You're not kids anymore. So they
Mhm.
know who you are. And if they don't want to be a part of that, then guess what? It's their loss. And so it might be at the point now that God is like, Ellison, I've showed you time and time again that just because you all have a family dynamic, it doesn't make them the family that you need. So
Yeah.
I gave it to you before, but you were a kid, so you couldn't really accept your father's side of the
Yeah.
family. But now you're an adult, and now I've shown you time and time again who they are. So now it's time for you to remove yourself from that situation, and if you
Yeah.
won't, then
Yeah.
he will.
Mhm. And to say that, and I see where Shirley said that, sometimes you don't know how to deal, and that is so right. You don't know how to deal. So when you spend it would the things I would do was so bad. It was because I even went to um a certain college because to help my one of my siblings out in a certain area. I didn't want to do that, but I did it because my mom asked me to. I did it because I want you to accept me. So see me. I felt like a jack in a box. See me, see me, see me, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. It was all about what you can do. And even in my adulthood, when I went to them and was like, hey, this is what you did, it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't remember. Okay, well, this is what you did, this is how I felt. And then if it wasn't for a crying shame, it turned right around and the same situation happened again as an adult. So at this point I had to realize that I am now allowing them to re-victimize me
Yes,
by pulling on it. But Natalie, it was hard because I felt alone. And I don't know if anybody knows what to feel alone like. I don't remember when I was born, but I remember back to I was 3 years old, and I've been lonely my whole life. I feel like I've been lonely my whole life, and it's just been me. It's just
yes.
been me in this daunting, hateful bubble. And
Right?
it's just be me. Nobody loves like I do. Nobody cares like I do. And I'm tired of getting hurt. And that's what I was trying to project to my family. But because they didn't see me and still don't see me, they didn't hear me.
Okay, so let me just say this. I definitely know it's no, the emptiness and the pain that it feels to be invisible, to be like nobody sees me, nobody hears me. I'm in pain. I'm crying out in pain. I'm screaming, and nobody sees me. Nobody sees. Nobody's paying attention to the signs of the guard that I have up. Nobody sees that I'm loud. It's not because I'm just yelling. I'm loud trying to get your attention and let you know I'm hurting. No, everybody's ignoring the signs. And a lot of times, this is what happens to so many of our children. That, like you said, you wanted to make sure that people know they're not just in their room, they're screaming out. Sometimes we see when it's
Yeah.
too late and someone has committed suicide, and all of the signs were there, and everybody dismissed it.
Yeah.
But I want to say to you that once you told them, and I want to say to our audience, to let someone know how you feel and how you felt for so many years bottled up, carrying all this baggage around, and you finally find the strength and the courage to finally say, "You've hurt me. You've hurt me tremendously. You've hurt me from the time I was born until today as an adult, and it has affected me in everything that I've done, and everything I've done to try and
Mhm.
show you that I love you and I need you and I want
Mhm.
your acceptance." And
Mhm.
when they turned their backs and said, "I didn't even know,"
I didn't know. I
I
didn't
basically like
remember.
shoot you off, like, and you should get
Yeah.
over it and moving on, and still continue to treat you
And
like that.
still.
It's now a different type of thing. It's
Yeah.
now total disrespect and disregard for you.
Disregard. Disregard. I remember asking one of my siblings, and I still have yet to get an answer. I said, "How do you see me?"
You will never get an answer because it would be a mirror,
Hmm.
and it would show their ugliness inside and out. And they don't
Yeah.
want to face it, but they know it, and they don't want
Yeah.
to do anything to change it. But that's right, Miss Shirley. Nobody. But Ellison, I'm here to tell you, you have a sister now, and I love you, and I'm here for you. Regard, and we'll move forward, and they'll still be in the wings, watching, seeing us shine.
Mhm. Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I definitely have some sisters and stuff that I never that are not blood that I consider sister friends, and that have been there for me through thick and thin. I call them my ride or dies, and I just really appreciate them. At the heart of it, though, I don't even know if anyone knows the magnitude of the pain. And although I'm healed, and I'm proud to say that I'm healed, thank you, by the grace of God, because I spent time with him to be healed. It still hurts
Oh, I'm sure.
that I am 52 years old and still being rejected by some of my siblings. It still hurts that you do everything that you could do to raise your children the right way, and then they can reject you too.
Yes.
It still hurts when you have friends and you give everything that you can to them, and then they reject you as well. So it's almost like trying to reopen the wound, and I have to fight with all the strength that my God has given me to keep that wound closed. And the battle comes because sometimes I do still sit and I feel like, God, why did I have to go through this? That I am still feeling lonely. But I do understand that I am close to him. I do understand that he's my strength. I understand when I can't go on, that he's the one that guides me and leads me. I understand all of that, but it still hurts. And that's all I can say. It still hurts that some of my siblings won't even receive me. It still hurts that the family that I wanted, that they all have on my father's side, is going on and having family. And I see them and we communicate now, because I didn't have no communication at one time. But I still don't even have that either. So I'm still yearning Sometimes I still yearn for the acceptance and the love of them, but I do know that I have a God that loves me unconditionally. My husband is wonderful. He is absolutely wonderful, and he definitely showers me with love, but none of that takes that pain away. None of
That
that takes that pain away.
I completely understand, and that pain that you feel, like you said, part of your healing, and you have to protect your healing, your self love. You won't be able to love effectively to the rest of your family that deserves it by holding on to the pain that they keep inflicting
Yeah.
upon you. And
Yeah.
so I want to tell you this: God loves you so much that He doesn't, you can't be near them.
Yeah.
You can't. I know you want to, but He don't want you to. He can't have you there because you know why? A lot of times He'll put us and take us away from something so that we can focus more on Him. And if you were to be involved with them and they don't know how to love you correctly, you may not be coming with towards your father, our heavenly Father, correctly with what He needs you to do and how He needs you. You'll be caught up in some kind of drama and
Yeah.
trauma with them. They haven't changed, so He's like, you can't be with them. And so I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep on moving you over here, and I'm keep on shifting you over here. And I know it hurts, but you know what? You have to think of them like a distant cousin. Like I
Yeah.
might see you once a year at the family reunion, and we can keep
Yes.
kaka, and then I go home and I'll see you again next year, same
Yeah.
date, same time.
Yeah.
But other than that, you may not speak throughout the whole year, and that I mean, and
Yeah.
like I said, I know it hurts because you keep
It
seeing
does
them
hurt.
with what they have over there. But it's just like when we can look on social media or we can look at people and say, wow, they look like a fantastic
Yeah.
couple. Oh, they look good together. Oh, they look like they're always having a good time. But you're not there behind the closed doors to
Yeah.
know that it could be something so horrific. And so many
Yeah.
times we see that. So what it may look like, and it may look like they're really close, you, because they're not close with you, guess what you
Right.
don't know? You don't know about the backstabbing
Yeah.
that goes on between them. You don't know about the phone calls where they gossip about each other. You don't know,
That's
you
true.
know, you don't know about all of that because you
Yeah.
ain't part of it, and you should be
I'm
happy
not. I'm
that
not.
you're
I
not in
am
the
not
middle
part
of
of
the
it.
chaos. God
Yes.
said, I don't need you in the middle of that chaos. I delivered
Right.
you from that on purpose and
Yeah.
got you closer with me and healed you so that you
Yeah.
could go on to help others. Ephesians 50:20. For what they
Amen.
meant for evil, I meant for good. So
Yeah.
that you can show other people the love that I have and the miracle that I have in you. So unfortunately you had to go through it. But look how many people that you'll be able to touch and how many
Yeah.
children that you can impact their lives by giving them the love that they're not
Yeah.
getting from their families. Families
Right.
that
You know.
might have known that they were being sexually abused and assaulted, and once that whistle was blown, the family hurried up and shifted that child off to foster
Right.
care. And
Yeah.
now they have no one. And so they feel exactly like you feel, not having anybody, and they would almost want to go back to that house and be.
You want to go back to the dysfunction because the dysfunction is what you was used to,
Yes, and at
so
least you
that's
got
what
some
that
kind of
happened.
attention as
Yeah.
opposed to a foster family, and now you may be there where someone is violating you and they're a stranger.
Right. And and you're right about that side of family I don't know. I'm still talking about this side. I'm still talking about the side I long to get with, the side that I know. The side that I know that some of my siblings, you can definitely, I see you showing love to this person. I see you treating this person. I see you nurturing this person. I see you mentoring this person. I see you trying to have a relationship with this person, and yet you don't even try to have a relationship with me. And I can be honest, that hurts, but I'm learning that, you know what, that might not even be what I need, because that might not even be healthy. And I say that because, so I have told siblings, you are a trigger for me, and it's best for me to stay away from you.
That's right.
And I have done that, because as I started walking in my healing, as I seen the question says, what did you do to get better? Well, first of all, I thought I was good until I started having kids and got married, and all of this stuff started happening. And what was happening is I didn't heal from my past wounds. So now I'm bleeding on my husband and my children, and I don't even know it because they're not the ones that did it to me. So I'm bleeding on them because I wasn't healed. It wasn't until I really sat with God, and it was about 3 months of show me, show me my purpose, show me who I am, show me whose I am, because I don't feel like I belong anywhere. I don't belong over there. I don't belong over here. Nobody feels like I don't fit in. And I don't fit in because he lets me to know I set you aside for my use.
Yes, you're not supposed
You
to fit in
know?
with them.
Yeah, so
You're
he
supposed to
was
fit in.
setting me aside. But Natalie, it's still, it's I'm human. It still
Oh, I understand.
hurt.
I understand.
It still
And
hurt.
and you know how you said you see that one. Oh, you see, yeah, I love the love. You know how you said you see that one sibling with the other one doing everything that you long for with that one. It could.
No, it's not even with a sibling. It's with it's somebody else.
Oh,
So the person is even better than the family. The person gets all the love in the family, and I don't. And
oh,
the
I see
family
what you're
don't. It's
saying.
not even another sibling.
Yes, but you know that could all be a facade, and maybe it's not a facade. They're looking for the same acceptance you're looking for, and that's why they're pouring so much into that friend.
Mm,
They're looking
good.
for the same exact thing, but they just decided to do it towards a friend. And you
Yeah.
have some family members that do that, that you say, wow, they treat the stranger better than they
Yeah.
do family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's because you know why? They felt the same pain that you felt. They just
Yeah.
didn't verbalize it. But they may
Yeah.
be having the same hurt that you have and said, you know what? One thing I'm not going to do is get close with the family because
Yeah.
that's where my pain is at. See, you
That's
verbalize a lot.
that's
So
where
you
my
told
pain
them,
is.
you said, I can't, you're a trigger, you're this, you're that. You're telling them they may just be holding it all in.
Right. You said something powerful. You said the pain is with the family. And as when my when my right before my mom passed,
I'm so sorry.
she told me, she said, I need you to take care of the family. And
And you put that on your
I
back and carrying it
I
ever
put it on
since.
my back, and I carried that burden, and I fought for the family, and it cost me so much of me. Um so much of me. It cost me trying to hold this family together. You know, it's been years. Some of us didn't talk, some of us didn't speak. It's just been toxic, it's just been chaotic, but I still fought. I de I devalued me for the love of family that didn't even value me. And when I had the nerve to say, when God told me I could take that backpack off after about 11 years, and I'm sure, I said, okay, I had the nerve to say, I'm done. I can't carry this burden any longer. Then I was wrong, and I pushed the family to the side, and I was not spoken to anymore, but I fought for you guys for 11 years. I fought for your love for me. I fought for your love for each other. I prayed. I've done all I can do. You guys don't want to heal. If you guys don't want to be a family, it's nothing I can do. Healing is a choice.
It is.
Healing is a choice, and we have to make up our mind. Do we want to heal? And I was continually allowing myself to be hurt because I just wanted love. I just wanted love, not understanding that the love of God was enough, that the love from my husband was enough. I just want you to love me. And I don't want that to be a deathbed saying, you know, I loved you and I love you. I don't want to hear that as your last breath. I don't want to hear. We should be saying I love you now. You know, so to make up your mind to heal, to make up your mind to deal, first you have to make up your mind, and then you have to allow yourself to go back and deal with those traumas in order to get true healing, in order to get true in order to get true deliverance, in order for me to say I am Ellison and walk with my head up, I had to be delivered. And God did that. But I first had to want to. I had to want to. You know, I had to want to. And it's nothing like being there for people who you feel like despise you. And then the minute you say I don't want to do something anymore, they start degrading you and belittling you and making you feel like you don't matter because you're tired of giving everything you've got. I didn't have anymore, but you still kept pulling on me as long as it was benefiting you. But when I stood up and I realized who I was, then you want to push me away again. I was tired. I was tired of fighting for love. Tired.
And they know that that's what you want. They know it. You have some that are probably like, I could give it to her. I could really be close with her. I really want to be close with her. Part of me, even though I really don't know how, but because she wants it so bad, I'm not going to do it. Because they came from that hurt. They came from that same rejection. That's why they treated you like that. And you said 11 years of you trying to hold it together. But like you said, for 50 something years since your very existence, you've been fighting and striving for
Fighting
trying to
and
keep it together,
striving.
trying to show them
Yes.
love, trying to receive their love, trying to let them know, like, hey, I'm not the bad guy. That
Yeah.
that was my father, but I was a baby. I
Yeah.
had no control. I got it just like you got it. You
Yeah.
know
I was apologizing. I was apologizing for his faults and I didn't do anything. I didn't
exactly.
do anything, but yet I was apologizing for his faults. And you know, it's I don't like that I went through all of that, but I'm grateful because it allows me to have a voice for other women, to let other women know that you are not your trauma.
That's right.
We are not our trauma, right? We rise up above that. We are not our trauma. Our voice matters. We have a voice. And as many times as people try to shut my voice down and tell me be quiet and tell me I don't matter, the louder I was getting. But I had to learn to be loud with a little whisper so you can hear me, because you wasn't hearing my yelling and screaming, but to whisper it so you can hear me. My pain is real, your pain is real. Whoever's out there going through, your pain is real. Don't let nobody tell you that it's valid, but don't allow that to depict who you are. That's why I introduced myself as I am Ellison, because I had to learn to love me. I had to learn to love me. That was hard. That was hard because in my mind, I was everything they told me. I was every individual that touched me. That's who I was. I was all of that, that to me. And then I had to realize that no, you're not. You're not a rag. You're not nothing. You're not garbage. You're not, you are, I am somebody. And I had to learn that. But until I learned that, I didn't know what self esteem was or anything else. And that's why I help out women, even the women who deny that they have issues. Baby girl, you do have them because, hey, I identify. I know, but if you want to walk in unbelief, then that's fine. But you need to be healed. We
Yes.
need to be healed.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
You're so special, and they know it, and we all
Mhm.
know it. We all know it. I know that you talked about when we talked about your your friend's brother. I just wanted to throw it out there that 40% of children who are abused by another child is usually by someone who is older and or more powerful, and so that happens a lot. And
Mhm.
also, when you talked about um, homosexual um, predators,
Yeah,
individuals, they are usually more likely to go on to sexually assault someone.
yeah, yeah. So
And
can you imagine my fear?
it's up from 12 to 17.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
could you imagine my fear of that?
Yes. Yeah.
That was a fear. That was a fear. Right now, everybody's running around. They want to change their own sex, and here I'm trying to fight to remember that I am a woman.
Exactly.
You know that I am a woman and that I'm heterosexual. But I was violated by a woman, and that just speaks so many volumes. That and it was in the very next room. It was in the very next room. It's not like we were by ourselves. It was in the very next room. But yet I got up the next morning and did what I did because what goes on in my house stays in my house. And I got up and I put on my fairy tale facade and walked out of that house like nothing ever happened, leaving a piece of me behind on that bed.
Hmm.
Leaving a
Because by
piece of
that
me
time you had
behind on
already
that bed.
learned.
And it's sad that I have a photogenic memory because I can still see this, and I had to go back through my trauma and collect my pieces and let God put me back together again.
And not just to put you back together, but also to help others put themselves back together because you know exactly what it was like.
Yeah. Yeah. Shirley said wonderfully, and yes, fearfully, wonderfully, beautifully made, all of that, but I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because I didn't know better. I didn't know better, so I couldn't believe that.
You were a child.
Yes.
You were a child, and someone took advantage of you time and time again as a child. How would you know better? How would you be able to believe that? Um, Earlier, you said about the sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. And you're right. So many times the words they do hurt. That's why it's called verbal abuse and
Yeah.
emotional
Yeah.
abuse. And we see it time and time again. And a lot of times that leads to the anger and leads to the physical.
Yeah.
And just like those words can change you and create something bad in you and make you believe all of those
Mhm.
evil things. That's why words are so important. And we say daily
Yes.
confirmations and affirmations.
Affirmations,
Always speaking
motivation.
to
Yes.
ourselves and motivating, yes, and I am and I will be and I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves that and we see like speaking it into existence, just like the Bible tells us when we speak bad things.
We
And
have
so
to
yeah, those
we have to
words,
believe it.
yes.
And I said it. I said it, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it because I was still allowing it to happen. And when I say I was still allowing it to happen, that's because my desire to belong and my desire to want them to love me, I was allowing the behavior to continue. So regardless to how much I said I'm fearfully and beautifully made, but God has put purpose in me, regardless of how much I said that. I didn't really believe that because I was still returning like a dog to the vomit, all because I wanted to belong.
Alice,
And that hurt.
you almost made me jump out the chair. Let me just say this. You did not allow any of it. I can't even let you speak that. You did
Mhm.
not allow it. That you didn't allow it. It happened to you, and they were wrong. Each and every one of them were wrong, and they violated you. And so many times we have people that will victim blame. Oh, you must have wanted it. Why didn't you report it? Why didn't you do this? We want to ask the question, why did they violate you and think it
Mhm.
was okay?
Yeah.
Regardless if you didn't blow the whistle the first time, regardless if you didn't blow the whistle the second time or the third time or each and every time. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
Again, you were violated, and we know that violation leads to trauma. When you trust someone and you trusted them wholeheartedly and you respected them, you trusted them not to do anything evil,
Yeah. Yeah.
not to take out your sexual or whatever it is, not to
Yeah.
do it to me. And the fact that you did it and just expected me don't say anything, but you couldn't because you're dealing with trauma. You've been
Yeah.
dealing with it your whole life, and
My
nobody
whole
came and
life.
saved you and pulled you
Yeah.
out and said, let's go report this. This was
Right.
wrong. What happened to you? So you didn't allow it. You didn't know how to deal with it.
I
It was
didn't know how to
trauma.
deal with it.
And one
Hmm.
thing about, we do know that when children, and you were a child, when children are abused, again, back to the same thing again, physically, emotionally, sexually, and neglected.
Yeah.
Your parents are not there to save you. That's neglect. They're
Yeah.
not seeing what's going on. That's neglect. Regardless if they said, I know she's going over there. The fact that you didn't follow up and say, hey, what happened while you were there? Did anything bad happen? Did anybody
Yeah.
try anything? Has anybody ever tried to touch you? That's neglect. If you didn't ask,
Yeah.
that's neglect. And
It's neglect.
so
Hmm.
I forgot. So
Hmm.
yeah, so trauma leads to children being promiscuous,
Yes.
leads to alcohol, drugs, suicide, suicide
Anger.
thoughts, depression, anger. We know all of these things usually come from children who have been abused and experienced
Yeah.
some type of family violence.
Yes. 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 Natalie, thank you so much for
You,
for helping me through this, for helping me talk on Real Talk with Ellison. Natalie, I greatly appreciate you. Listen, regardless to if you're in a church, if you're in a community, if you're home, you have a voice, and your voice does matter. Find someone, seek help, get help. You don't have to be in that situation. You can get help. You need to know who you are. And we didn't even talk about, you mentioned suicide, but I didn't even go down that route. That's a anywho. So, I just want everybody to know, regardless if you're a church or not, get some help, seek help from somebody. We have to make up our mind if we want to heal. Once we make up our mind, start walking in your healing, take back you, get in God. It's so important. I cannot say enough about, I would not be able to be here. I went through these psychiatrists, and they told me I had PTSD, and I told them they were crazy. And they told me, I don't know how you're still here.
yes,
That's what I was told. I don't know how you're still here. But God had his hand on me back then, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. So you've been watching Real Talk with Ellison. We have been breaking the silence, and I prayed that through my voice, Natalie was the first one to go. She came back to help me with mine. We have two phenomenal women coming up after, and I pray that this reaches someone, and you can say, "Hi, I am Ellison. I matter and I have a voice. You can love you. The most important thing that you can do is love yourself. Because when you love yourself, when you're secure in yourself, when you believe in you, you will set boundaries and you won't let anybody cross those boundaries because you won't let nobody disrespect you. I am not that little girl, but I choose to protect her because I'm not going to allow anyone to hurt her. God's got me, and I got me. Again, Natalie, I want to thank you so much for being here with me. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you in a few days.
Yes.
I just appreciate what God is going to be doing, with us and through you on your journey. Guys, listen, thank you guys for all your support. It is tough to be in this seat right here. It is tough. It is really tough to share, especially when you don't feel like you matter. But I know I do. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for watching Real Talk with Ellison. And I am Ellison. God bless. Mwah.